Radio Free Skaro!
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Radio Free Skaro, episode number 1003. I am Stephen in Edmonton.
Warren in Vancouver.
And Chris in Edmonton.
Back in our standard places, excuse me, into the 1000s now, an episode title which will still be a novelty to me for a little while yet, at least. Because, of course, as you know, Bob, we passed 1,000 episodes live on stage last weekend at Gallifrey One. And then we had 2 subsequent episodes after that. And now we're back to normal again. So there we go.
Yep. No fourth chair this time.
No,
nope.
This is the come down episode.
This is definitely the come down episode.
Yeah. Huge thanks to Chip and Andrew for jumping in on both of those, though.
Definitely, yeah. We took a mildly different approach to our galley coverage.
Sorry to cut you off. Also, huge thanks to Chip for his bloody lovely.
Oh my God!
2 MTL episode.
Yes, that was
from
wonderful.
Galley as well. That tugged at my heartstrings.
I know.
Mine as well.
492. Yeah, I deliberately didn't listen to that until after we recorded our last episode because I didn't. I don't think it had come out yet at the point. But yeah, thanks a lot, Chip. Very nice of you. Very well past the 2-minute time limit, but also unscripted, and that's basically like a tribute to us in and of itself. Unscripted and way too long is exactly what we do.
Which we haven't used as an episode title yet, but bank that one.
Well, maybe that's our new title right there. Who knows? We've already decided the title based on our pre-show chatter, everyone. If you're trying to decipher what our actual episode title is about, you won't know. You won't know.
Nope.
It happened already.
Nope.
That conversation happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The lobby was the time.
It's silly. It's a silly title.
Usually we go and get interviews and stuff like that, and just like, I had more panels and bigger panels to do over the course of the weekend that I was like, you know what, let's for a change talk about the actual things that happened at the convention, because oftentimes we preview all the things and then we never mention them again because we never go to them. So
well, and this year with the current political climate, it was nice just to kind of focus on the one thing we love in America.
Yeah, it was kind of nice, wasn't it? It was
as yet unchanged.
Yeah, it was a nice time.
Speaking of one thing we love, well, 2 of us at any rate, we're finally getting season 25 on Blu-ray.
Oh my God, that's
you're
this
going to talk
week.
about Canadian
this
hockey.
coming week.
That's right, this week. I haven't got my official shipping notification, but I can dang guarantee. Oh, I used to have it open. I used to have a tab open on my browser that was tracking it, and I accidentally closed it. But yeah, February 25th is when season 25 comes out here in North America finally. So I can finally truncate my Blu-ray shelf just that little bit more.
Which is the main thing, really. Not even watching it.
Shelving, yeah.
After talking to some British friends at Galley, I'm looking forward to the Happiness Patrol re-edit that much more.
I know, me too. I'm so curious about it now that it's like coming, like gone up and down. Like everyone talked about the UK, now everyone's forgotten about it because it was months ago. It's like brand new to these eyes. So
given my
cool.
almost ignorance of the Happiness Patrol, what exactly? Why are they re-editing? What was the overall reason for re-editing?
Make it look better.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. Okay.
It's like a full-on reimagining, because when they first imagined the Happiness Patrol back in the day, they thought, Chris Clough is thinking, what if we shot it in black and white? What if you had these like cool Dutch angles and made like German expressionism from the 1930s? And then they just made it in a cheap old BBC studio, like everything else. And so they thought, let's try it differently. And so they kind of
it does, as much as I adore the story anyway, it does suffer from being studio bound.
It does. I had never really believed that it was actually supposed to take place outside. Like, I just assumed it was a planet that was under a dome, because you just never got the impression that they were outside anywhere. And apparently, don't laugh at us, people in the UK, all right? We're just getting this stupid thing on Blu-ray, so we haven't seen it. But apparently there's like shots of, stuff in the sky and everything else, just sort of hammer home the point.
Is it black and white? Do they add Dutch angles after the fact?
No, just tilted the
I mean, you could
frame a little bit in Photoshop or something, or
add some
Premiere.
Generative more floor or something.
Yeah, I know they did not quite do that.
Best use of AI ever, creating more 1980s studio floor.
Oh, if only.
They recut it so John Normington was more Morgus-like.
There we are. John Normington was in Caves of Androzani, Warren. That's the joke that Chris is making.
That's great.
It's also
that is legitimately great, unlike the Happiness Patrol. Anyway.
Yeah. Well, you're not going to watch it, so I don't.
No, of course not.
No,
I'm on the Blu-ray train, but I'm not buying that. Please, I have limits.
Speaking of Blu-rays, there's a shocking price drop right now on the BBC shop.
Still?
I just checked the other day because I wanted to see if anything. First of all, nothing's been updated for like weeks, if not months, on the BBC shop, both in Canada and the US. Secondly, a lot of the DVDs and Blu-rays that are there are like up to half off. The Jodie Whittaker era in the US is $25 or $30 in Canada. Something's happening.
Which happened shortly after I paid $60 at Amazon.
Right?
Ouch.
Yeah, so something's up. I don't know if they're like liquidating the store and like that's going to be it for the BBC shop or what, but something seems off there. No new releases have been put up, like the 25 hasn't been there, or the season 7, which we'll get to briefly. None of that.
I haven't looked beyond Doctor Who there to see if, because it just might be a massive Doctor Who sale. If everything, like if all like the Line of Duty or whatever else they sell, if that's all half price as well, then maybe it's a liquidation.
Well, I mean, the most recent item on the BBC shop as a whole is the 15th Doctor festive jumper for Joy to the World. And that's, so...
For Joy to the World. Ooh.
Yeah. Very little is new on this. You could get it's Christmas stuff, basically. And I'm wondering, did the BBC shop end? Is this like it? Is that like we're not getting anything else from the BBC shop? Are they closing it down?
Through you, I made how many attempts to get the Blu-ray for Blake 7 from them? And they just kept canceling the order and never said why.
Yeah, and then
I reached out to them and they said, "Oh, we're sold out."
Yeah, we're sold out. So
they're not very good at keeping things up to date.
No,
I guess is the bottom line.
Keep an eye on that. Keep an eye on that. I'm wondering if the shop has gone bye-bye, and we're just not being told about it. And
we are being Doctor Who fans about merchandise now.
I know, like Doctor Who's canceled. The shop is canceled. I mean, God, what an awful time. We'll talk about the rumors and stuff like that a little bit later. But
let's talk about something good first, if it happens to be true.
Yes,
we're not totally sure.
Yeah, I know. Given the nature of this, we're still like ... question mark. But apparently, because there was a trailer that aired after a rugby match on, was it iPlayer, not BBC One iPlayer?
Yeah, after a Six Nations match on iPlayer
rugby, where there was a short 30-second trailer for Doctor Who season 2, and at the end there was the slate, Saturday, April 12th.
Yeah.
So I guess we have a premiere date now.
Rugby seems to be not an off-putting. What's the word I'm looking for? An odd place to advertise Doctor Who.
Well,
back,
it's a Venn diagram that doesn't cross over very much. According to
and this happened before too.
The show notes.
Well, I mean, whatever. It's how many times, like Wimbledon, they've into halftime or something of an FA Cup.
There's a lot of people watching it, so I guess it does make a lot of sense.
Exactly.
This is just my non-sports brain kicking in. So
that's your brain, Warren.
Yes, I know. That's what I just said. Yes.
Except for this past Thursday when Canada beat the U.S. in the Four Nations face-off tournament.
I did in fact watch it.
This whole country was
and we yelled epithets at America, and then we sang the national anthem along with the team.
Yeah, and then oddly enough, right after that national anthem, it said, "Oh, April 12th, BBC Doctor Who." So we actually it didn't air on here, but
so Just a slight tangent because that's what we do around here.
Well, this is already a tangent. So is this a tangent from the current tangent, or
tangent from the tangent?
Okay.
So at said,
we'll get back to the Doctor Who talk on April 12th in a second. But go on, Chris. Yeah.
At said hockey game.
All right.
So the Canadian national anthem was sung by Chantal Kerviasek.
Yeah.
Still well-known Canadian singer.
Fairly well-known, yeah.
Anyway, she changed a little bit of the wording to be a little more,
in a
pro-independent Canada kind of thing. On the same night, on Thursday, at Rogers Place here in Edmonton, Our Lady Peace was delivering a concert. Our Lady Peace's main lead singer, Rain Maida, is married to Chantal Kerviasek. And once the hockey score was known at this Our Lady Peace concert, the whole crowd bust out in
and the band
a rendition of and the band led by the band did a rendition of "O Canada," which is all over the interwebs.
It was a brilliant moment.
An unpopular take. I love that she changed it to Only Us Command.
Yeah.
But I think overall I've heard better renditions of our national anthem. Well, in fact, the rendition given by the team at the end of the game was much better.
Well, yeah, because we played it off a tape. Yeah, the thing is that Chantal Kerviasek sort of like made it her own, by which it means sang whatever tempo she felt like at the time, and little did she realize that like people like to sing along to the song, and no one knew her. Like, stay on tempo, please. We need to sing along to this.
It was different. Let's put it that way.
It's not exactly Roseanne Barr doing.
No, and like I said, I completely support her changing the lyrics around. There's just like the one earlier where that First Nation singer said, I can't remember exactly the lines, but basically it said, "Hey, you took this land."
Our home on native land.
That's the one. Yeah. That was also good. I'm perfectly fine with people changing this around, and if they agree with my opinions. Yeah,
I think Stephen, you're probably good saying that nobody is better than Paul Loriot anyway, right?
Paul Loriot, the old Edmonton Oilers. Although Robert Clark does a fine job for current Oilers games. For what it's worth. Anyway, that's the tangent back to this initial. Okay, back. Here we go. There we are. Okay, we're back on. We're back on the freeway, kids. April 12th. Here's the thing. Why are we back to this again? Why are we back to like when are they going to air it? When are they going to air it? When are they going to air it? When are they going to air it?
So
and eventually something leaks out is when you do this. You know,
that's BBC tradition. Come on.
Well, it's annoying.
We had through sleuthing we had thought March 28th, so 2 weeks prior, might have been the launch dates, and then the as you were saying, Stephen, the what's coming to Disney Plus in March email dropped to subscribers, and Doctor Who was nowhere to be seen on that.
Nope. Not that is, because sometimes like Christmas has dropped. Here's what's coming in December, and the Christmas special wasn't on there yet because they hadn't, the BBC hadn't done their own release yet, and they usually like time things like that. So that wasn't a written in stone thing. I was waiting to hear more, but a trailer at the end of a rugby match seen by multiple people is pretty much as close to confirmation as you'll get. And now I'm wondering if the BBC press office is scrambling to, oh no, why did we withhold the date for so long?
Shortly after, I went to the it's like the program website.
Right.
And there's no mention there of April 12th, like no upcoming episodes is what it said.
I'm not surprised.
So, I mean, obviously the BBC site is very, very large.
Yep.
So even when something does hit for a release date or whatever, I'm sure it takes a reasonable amount of time for everything to get updated to reflect that new information.
Yeah. I mean, it's a whole press launch into it. Like I don't know when this press launch is supposed to happen. Just tell us the date. Well, we already know the date. So guess what? Here's the thing too. So we didn't mention this last week at Galley, but Joel Collins, executive producer of Doctor Who, was wearing teaser T-shirts every day of the convention. On the Friday, he had a full body shot of the little animated guy that's crawling out of the
it's a
cinema
great
screen. It was a great T-shirt. That was his teaser. On the Saturday, I took a picture of this and posted it on Blue Sky, and a lot of people saw it. And it says, "Here's his T-shirt today," and it said 503rd Interstellar Song Contest. Now, no, mild spoilers, but it's been largely hinted at amongst fans that there's going to be a Eurovision themed episode.
Oh no.
And Eurovision is what, Chris? May 17th is the date of the final.
Yeah.
Which would be week 7 if indeed Doctor Who returns on April 7th.
So Eurovision's the big bad. That tracks.
That does actually track.
Or if they do 2 episodes on the first day like they did last season, then the finale would be Eurovision Saturday. Because last year the premiere was Eurovision Saturday.
Yeah.
So it'd be a kind of a not bookend necessarily, but sort of a nice tie-in to. Season 1, if that was done.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, last year tied in because there was bad songs at Eurovision and there was a bad song at Doctor Who that weekend. So
calling it now, Rogue returns and is in the contest.
I got to tell you, I'm not looking forward to
I mean, we just made this up in our heads. We have no proof of this, but also I also dread this thing that's imaginary so far.
Yeah, the Interstellar Song Contest T-shirt kind of just does cement that, and the fact that it's going to time out with Eurovision.
I hope you enjoy it, other Doctor Who fans. Let me put it that way.
It doesn't mean it's going to be a big part of something.
That's a fair point.
When you base something around a song contest, there's going to be songs.
Well, we don't know if it's all based around, like Chris said, it might just be a little bit of background stuff. Just like the animated guy, it might not be the big deal that we're making it because it's on a T-shirt.
True.
It could be something that takes place backstage at this thing, and maybe you'll hear like in the background some songs as though they were bleeding from being on stage or something.
To counter that, in that kind of scenario, having the Doctor all of a sudden inadvertently be on stage and have to sing and dance, I could see that being a thing that would happen.
That's the thing.
Anyway, we're making stuff up to be angry about, as fans do.
That's true. Although Russell T Davies did hint himself, there's going to be a lot more songs in season 2. Just you wait. He said this so like in either magazine or Doctor Who Unleashed or something like that. So more songs in Doctor Who.
Well, I'll just skip past them like I did with Twist in the End.
Yeah, which thankfully was at the very end.
I think, Stephen, if this does come to pass, you'll just have to watch the musical episode of Strange New Worlds, and then Doctor Who can be a palate cleanser.
No. How about that?
Yeah.
No.
Here's the thing: I'm never watching that. I'm never watching it.
Yeah, I'll never see all Star Trek, although I haven't seen half of Voyager.
Yeah,
and that's probably not going to change either. So
just
nothing against it. Just I can't doubt the staying power.
No, I have something against it, Warren. It's fine. It's fine to have something against Voyager. Anyway, so the Doctor Who, the show that we're clearly looking forward to here on this Doctor Who podcast, returns April 12th, potentially, probably. What kind of worries me is that, they probably based this around Eurovision and Interstellar Song Contest on the BBC. Disney Plus airs Andor. Andor starts on April 22nd, right? 10 days after Doctor Who. Guess what's going to win out in the promotion wars of Andor or Doctor Who on Disney Plus? It's going to be Andor.
Well, I mean, yeah.
It's going to be Andor.
Andor is
a zillion-dollar juggernaut,
or this little thing we bought from the BBC.
Now, I want to see both, so
here's also the thing. I mean, in this current state of world affairs that we're in, maybe the potential of a light, fluffy time travel show is a thing, but also like a lot of people like let's wallow a little bit. Season 2, I know we don't watch this, either of you, but season 2 of The Last of Us premieres the next day, April 13th.
Yeah, that's wallowing material.
That is wallowing material. Andor is not exactly happy-go-lucky Star Wars, which is why we like it, let's face it. Yeah. Like these two shows are going to be like basically owning the zeitgeist in genre television.
Here's a slight tangent about Andor. I've found that more modern Star Wars succeeds or fails based on the presence of a weird little guy.
Yeah.
Like Baby Yoda or Babu Frick or there's probably somebody in Skeleton Crew's a weird little guy. I don't know who it is. But I was trying to think, well, Andor doesn't have a weird little guy. No, wait a minute. The guy who keeps chasing the blonde Imperial officer around, that's a weird little guy. That's Andor's weird little guy.
No, the weird little guy is Andor's little droid, his little depressed little box droid.
Yeah, but yeah, but I like that guy a lot. So.
Yeah, I know. I like him too.
Boxdroid's great.
Yeah. So anyway, I just don't know if Disney will have its marketing heart into this, especially perhaps given the rumors that we must address at this point, which has been widely reported amongst many. I think maybe the Sun. Listen, I think, was it the Sun that first sort of put a story out about this?
The Mirror, I want to say.
It wasn't the Mirror. It wasn't the Mirror. It was actually the Sun. And
the Mirror has a good record for being right.
Yeah,
most of the time.
No, so does the Sun.
The Sun came out and there's Doctor Who goes, but then it went because they're wokeifying all the. Anytime you're writing an article that uses the term wokify, thinking you are not on an even playing ground here. You've clearly got an axe to grind. But there was enough chatter out there that the BBC actually responded with a comment. The Radio Times said it, and I'm scrolling through here to find out what it was. The story is incorrect, they said. A spokesperson for Doctor Who commented, the story is incorrect about it being cancelled. Doctor Who has not been shelved. As we have previously stated, the decision on season 3 will be made after season 2 airs. We'll see about that. The deal with Disney Plus was for 26 episodes, and exactly half of those still have to transmit. They're including War Between the Land and the Sea and the. Mm-hmm. And as for the rest, we never comment on the Doctor and future storylines. One thing you'll notice that they didn't do is address the notion that Ncuti Gatwa has left the role or has been removed from the role. So that is possibly still out there.
What was the reason for Ncuti Gatwa allegedly, and I'm saying allegedly in big capital letters, being removed for the role?
I don't know.
Wanted to go to Hollywood.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I thought it was part of their wokeify nonsense.
No, I think the idea that he's going to go further his career in Hollywood or something like that.
I mean, that seems a little more legitimate as an explanation.
Quite
why
possibly.
Wouldn't he?
Well, I suppose.
There's still the whole. We're about to shoot season 3 comment that was cut from the Christmas Graham Norton show episode.
That's right. Yeah, clearly he was misinformed on that. Which, actors don't necessarily know the ins and outs of everything they're doing.
No.
Half the time they're talking to a tennis ball in front of a green screen. So
and sometimes, I don't know, this is probably not the case here, but sometimes you're shooting stuff for season 3 in season 2. You know what I mean? Like there's back and forth just depending on what's cheaper to do. You need that set. You got these people, so you're getting that stuff out of the way first.
Although
so that could be that kind of thing too.
Although there was about a week or two of reshoots apparently happening in the UK. A week or two ago, so that could indeed be what he was referring to. So
that's true too.
Which came after his run in The Importance of Being in Earnest, which is now done and available in cinemas worldwide, according to his Instagram story this morning.
Well, that's neat.
Yeah, a play on cinema screens. That's coming to Canada. We could go watch that.
They've been doing that forever, and I think that's really. I don't really care about plays myself, but for people who do, I think that's awesome. They can just watch them in a movie theater.
I know
the National Theatre in Britain's been doing that for quite a while. The only one I've ever gone to was Frankenstein.
The Benedict Cumberbatch one, wasn't it?
2011, directed by Danny Boyle, where Benedict Cumberbatch and Johnny Lee Miller alternated who plays Frankenstein and who plays the monster.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's kind of cool.
The one I saw was Miller as the monster.
Oh, Kinda's Johnny Lee Miller, of course.
Kinda's Johnny Lee Miller, yes.
Exactly. Anyway, so that was the report. Those are the responses. Meanwhile, Russell T Davies it was announced that a show he's written 5-part series for Channel 4 called Tiptoe is entering production. On a Instagram replied, I think Jane Tranter of Bad Wolf. He says, I'm making this dear, but I'll be back writing stories for you soon and stuff as a comment. So either way, Russell T Davies thought there's going to be enough of a gap that I can make a show. I mean, a Channel 4 5-part show, a drama set in the LGBTQ plus community might not have the same production headaches and scale that Doctor Who would have. So it's not going to take a year and a half to make the show. But let's face it, there's going to be a long time before season 3 of
if
Doctor Who.
Anything
happens.
on this list of stuff pinged my radar. It was he's writing a separate series. I'm like, well then, okay. I like that doesn't mean he can't do both, but it is him not doing the other thing.
That's true. I mean, Stephen Moffat, as described in episode 1000 of maybe not, maybe it was another thing when he was writing Sherlock and Doctor Who at the same time, and in production at the same time, and it's still, it can be done, but I do feel like, especially when he's in like Manchester, not Cardiff. It's going to be a ways. We're going to celebrate this year's the 20th anniversary of modern Doctor Who, and like it'll be like the last year of Doctor Who for at least a couple years.
Although that's a hallmark of modern Doctor Who. So what's changed really?
It's a hallmark of modern television too. Which is the depressing thing. Like I mentioned, Andor and Last of Us. And literally the two shows, other than Doctor Who, that I watch and look forward to. And both those shows, their first seasons, aired in 2022. It's taken 3 years to make one season of television.
I think part of the difference is there's just so much, not that I'm watching it, but there's so much other stuff that it's easy to miss that, as opposed to like when there were 3 networks and you had to have, also they used to time seasons literally on when the new cars came out. That's what drove this. So that's why you had this many episodes at this time, and in September is when they premiered, because the new year's models of cars.
I liked it. I liked having something to depend upon when something was coming back, And now, like, there's just year-long gaps or multiple-year gaps between seasons of every show now, it seems. Like, when's it coming? Maybe when it comes back. That's when it's going to come back. It's like, come on. Anyway.
I mean, I completely understand being a fellow old going, I liked it better when it was this way. And I'm not defending either way. I'm just saying I understand completely the pull to just, please stop changing things, would you please? But the youngs might think differently, and they're the ones subscribing this crap. So.
I suppose. They're the ones who are, turning their streaming subscriptions basically. Oh, this show's back. Okay.
Well, that's true too. Yeah.
I'll wait till it piles up, subscribe for a month, watch it all, cancel it, on to the next one. That's the entertainment industry right now. This is how people are watching stuff, which I don't like. But then again, as you say, Warren, we're not the target audience. Well, maybe we are the target. Let's say we are the target audience, because all the music and cultural icon stuff is from when we were kids still. True. Because our generation still has all the money to spend on these things and stuff. And so anyway,
now I understand though, because I remember when I was a teenager in the 80s and it was nothing but boomers reflecting on how great they were, and I was sick and tired of it. So I'm sympathetic to the youngs nowadays listening to our nonsense. I'm like, I'd be annoyed with that too, frankly.
Goonies 2 was greenlit. Goonies 2 is a thing that's actually
Nobody
happening.
Wants that. Come on.
40 years ago.
Crew is Goonies 2, so just watch that.
It really is. It really is. I watched 2 episodes and stopped immediately.
That's where I appreciate people like Bob Gale, writer and producer of Back to the Future, who people are saying, why don't you do a reboot or a remake? He's like, F off.
Yeah, forget it. Just make something new, for God's sake. This is why I'm reading books more than anything else now. I'm sick and tired of all this stuff.
Zemeckis is also on record saying that while he's alive, there will never ever be a.
He's got to create more dead-eyed CG.
You're just gonna say Zemeckis has already moved on from that. He's gonna make really bad CG movies that no one watches.
Yeah, that creeping us out with Tom Hanks in multiple roles.
Yeah,
I've never actually seen the Polar Express.
I have, and it's actually not anywhere near as bad as anybody. It's fine. It's a fine Christmas movie. The only part that's scary, besides the dead-eyed Polar Express people, is that Steven Tyler shows up as an elf. I am not making that up at the end, and I was like, what is this?
Mm-hmm. Either of you have thoughts on this crisis that Doctor Who is currently in?
I mean, we've seen this throughout the 20 years of modern Who, and it's just like, just put your hands up and go, all right, whatever happens, happens. Also, it's been 20 years. If Doctor Who has a bit of a rest for a bit, it's not the end of the world.
That's true. That is true. Chris, you have any?
Take the hint, Star Trek. Star Wars, you're on pretty thin ice too.
Yeah.
Star Trek was pretty fallow for years and years, and then just like everything
needed to
all
be
at once.
After Braga and et al. they kind of ran out of ideas around Enterprise. Like it just felt tired, and I was kind of initially okay, good. This is different Star Trek, and then I was like, oh, okay, well that's different, but I don't like it. So oh well.
I don't care what people say about the Klingons in season 1 of Discovery. I loved the season 1 of Discovery.
Hated the Klingons in season 1 of Discovery. Me too. And also, I'm just going to say this because I'm going to be the old guy now.
Here we go.
90s ship designs never bettered. Just keep them.
Right.
Romulan Warbird, God tier.
Those are great. Yeah, I sort of cut you off, Chris. Just one more thing about a big, Amazon now has control of James Bond, and so that's going to be like just licensed up the wahoo, and there's going to be spin-off series every 2 years.
Moneypenny, well, but not that I have anything against Moneypenny.
No, but
that will definitely be a minor character gets turned into a whole series that nothing happens in.
Oh yeah, Felix Leiter, The Adventures of Felix Leiter. Oh,
Q
will
the
have its own series. Just like they're just going to milk it and just water it down so much.
I'm not the world's biggest fan of James Bond to begin with. It's fine, but it would be better as a series of films with an iconic character, whoever that may be, right?
Yeah.
Part of the charm of James Bond is that you've got one movie every so many years.
2 or 3 years if you're doing it right. Yeah.
Yeah. Just spacing it out, and because if nothing else,
right after we complain,
right?
I imagine that allows them to, because like if you did it 1 a year or 2 a year or something, the budget would have to be stripped down so much to afford it, and by having it every few years, then you can have those extra car chases and those extra explosions.
Well, the last one had a huge budget as I recall. I know it was pretty good, but 3 hours long too. Surprisingly, it was a decent enough Bond movie, but yeah, I mean, on the other hand, whatever. Amazon's got $1 bazillion. They'll okay, sure. Fallout was good. The Boys was good. Maybe this will be good. Maybe it won't. Who cares?
They'll piss it away. Chris, you have any thoughts to the Doctor Who thing?
I don't know. Yeah. The best I can say is there are times when the sun has been correct, much to our chagrin. There are times when the sun has been wrong.
Right.
I think of Harriet Jones being the Red Dalek as the example.
Oh, yes, that's right. That old chestnut.
That permeates my brain back in 2010 or thereabouts. And it's possible that Disney has backed out, like as we were talking with Julie Gardner about, like part of her job is schmoozing, and if Disney has chosen to back out and they're just waiting to pull the Band-Aid off, I'm sure she's been out there talking to HBO or Netflix or whoever about picking up the slack. If Gat was around, great. He is amazing, and I'm very happy to see him do more of the Doctor. But at the end of the day, he's a jobbing actor and young, and a lot of actors tend not to want to do the same thing for any length of time.
3 years is standard.
Like somebody like what's his name? From Coronation Street, who was there on day one, who was there for 60 years.
God, I don't know.
Like,
I call that person a hero.
Yeah.
I mean, the job stability would be fantastic, and I know he was very well paid for his efforts. But I mean, that's a lot of time to be doing the same thing. Just the job. In general, the job market is such these days that a lot of people don't spend any more than 2 or 3 or 4 years at a given job before moving elsewhere.
To say nothing of acting, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the one benefit of being an actor or writer or whoever, I suppose, in the entertainment industry is you're going to have that downtime. You can go do that play, you can go do that movie, you can go do that other short series. We've seen however many examples over the years of Doctor Who rearranging production schedules just to make sure that actor X, Y, Z gets there.
Like Gatwa
for one,
Sex Education,
yeah, or Mark Shepard back in the day. They've flipped around entire recording schedule just to accommodate his availability. Like it's not uncommon. So at the end of the day, I don't know. Nobody knows. Well, rather, those who do know aren't going to say anything.
Yeah. Right. Julie Gardner's part of her job is not to tell us a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
The rest of us, we don't know, and we can sit here and we can pontificate till the cows come home. doesn't mean anyone's going to be remotely correct. If Doctor Who is going to have to sit for a couple of years, that's going to suck. But we've been there. Mm-hmm. And if it doesn't have to, then, okay, great. But we're still not going to get more than 8 episodes a year.
No,
maybe down to 6.
It was funny, like, getting Google alerts going, oh, Doctor Who showrunner teases season 2 and talks about relationship. Oh, that's interesting. Oh, that's from us. That's literally our episode. That's literally us asking her about that on stage at Gallifrey One. Mm-hmm. But I was curious because I wanted to ask Julie Gardner just about the industry in general, just to get some comments, because I knew that, what's the deal with Disney Plus? Is there an issue there? She would never say that because she has an existing relationship with Disney Plus. It's on stage, it's on a podcast, which they knew about. So they, I knew that wasn't the way to go about it. But getting her comments about the industry in general, and then hearing Stephen Moffat talk about, like, Doctor Who can never be cheap. As he says, they have one set and we never use it. That's like the thing that is the basis of Doctor Who, that you can't make it cheaply.
Even something like Journey to the Center of the TARDIS, which was set basically completely within the TARDIS.
Yeah.
Still used a whole bunch of sets that we had never seen before.
It did, And so I just remember when, Russell T Davies was on a radio show or a podcast, I can't remember which, leading up to season 1, and he's saying, and if Disney doesn't go with it, well, then we'll make ghost stories in closets again. And I remember at the time going, yeah, all right, let's do that again. Like sometimes the limitations of the show is what makes the show great. Like Midnight was a last minute kind of thing.
And RTD is great at that.
He really is, and I wish that mentality came through again. The other thing that I mentioned this on the last episode, the one with Andrew Smith, about how, I think it was that one, or was it one of the ship? I can't remember now. But about how, Moffat might think that the way to go forward in Doctor Who is to have it more serialized, like it was for much of the 60s and into the 70s and stuff.
And in his era.
Because that's just how TV is kind of made now, and maybe just the light, fluffy, episode, Monster of the Week kind of thing with one connective tying tissue, putting everything together. I mean, that's kind of what Strange New Worlds is doing, but maybe that's the way forward with Doctor Who as well, especially if you're going to have so few episodes. It just feels like we're not getting as much, they feel lightweight. The episodes kind of feel lightweight as a result, because you're watching it for 43 minutes and then it's over, and then, okay, well, I guess that's it. And you don't really get a feel for the setting that it's in as much. So, and let's face it, all the mergers and the streaming service industry kind of, apart from Netflix, kind of collapsing, but like Netflix also like is bad in my opinion.
Prices going up everywhere, keeping people away from things.
Like, the churn is happening. I saw an interesting video about, like, why do Netflix shows look the same, like lighting wise, like they basically have, they all look great because, and this thing was pointed out to me, it's like when people are looking through on the thumbnails of the things and they all have, like, randomly selected screenshots of it, like they don't want those to look wildly different from each other. It just, it's part of the product. And, I feel like the streaming industry has kind of diluted the entertainment product to a point where, like, it's not, everything is just basically made to be watched while not paying attention to it. And I
mean, this is not just TV. This is everything. It's like that now.
Yeah,
everything
is
diluted to the point where you don't notice how bad it all is.
Yeah, and if that's the state of the industry, like, I'm kind of like, I remember, like, 2016 was an awful year when all of our beloved celebrities were dying and Trump was ascending to the presidency at the end of the year. And I'm kind of happy for Doctor Who to take this year off, because nothing could make this any better. And it did. And, like, I kind of, like, I'm not that I wish for Doctor Who to be off the air for a couple of years or something like that, but you know what? Let's let the industry sort itself out, because right now Doctor Who is kind of being treated like a football again, kicked between streaming services, amongst other things, So I'm looking at this potential gap that we're about to embark on, one way or the other. If Disney is in or out, we're still not going to get Doctor Who for another year and a half at least. that, you know, let's have the industry sort of do a bit of a reset, and then maybe Doctor Who can come back and in a much better, healthier state of mind, just not for the show, but for the industry.
The exposure of Doctor Who to the rest of the world via Disney Plus hopefully has been beneficial. I mean, that's kind of one of the main points behind having that kind of a deal.
Right.
But as you were talking about with Moffat saying, you know, ghost stories in closets, or RTD saying ghost stories in closets, I mean, the BBC has not really needed any help with making Doctor Who in the past, and they could totally still bring it back into strictly BBC studios and do it, you know, quote unquote in-house.
BBC and Bad Wolf together, yeah.
And then still, you know, deliver a product. They just, you know, wouldn't necessarily have the Disney Plus weight behind it. But as you also were talking about, you know, when Andor comes out, something like that, being a Disney property, is probably going to get the heavier marketing budget.
It will.
So
not that Disney doesn't like market multiple shows at once. You know, it's not like, oh, here's our one marketing. You know, they do have several shows on there.
It's a huge company. They can market a ton of stuff.
I still remember back in November 2023 for the 3 Tenant specials, like I'm sure it's all algorithm based or mostly algorithm based, but just even finding the stupid tile on the interface that had Doctor Who, not very forthcoming.
No.
Had to hunt for that thing. And so nobody knows anything except the people who do. The people who do aren't going to say anything. So the rest of us can just speculate, and whatever's going to happen is going to happen.
Right.
We have no control over it. Go on to step 5, acceptance, as fast as you can.
The other thing is we're all acting as if somehow Doctor Who will go back to looking like the classic series, which it won't. Modern Doctor Who has always looked pretty good. So even if it's just the BBC doing it, it's not like it's not going to look that much different than Disney, to be honest. Yeah, does Disney stuff look better? Sure.
I mean,
would I miss it if it went away? Not really.
Yeah.
To a point, I would disagree, because if you look at like series 1 versus like, you know, when Whittaker came along and just the cameras, the lenses, the technology,
but that was all BBC TV or British TV at the time, right? So I mean, I don't think it's going to look that radically different. Like,
well, even that was, you know, Doctor Who had some, you know, some money versus some other shows, and then as Moffat said on stage with us, no matter how much money you throw at Doctor Who, it can never ever have enough.
No. Exactly, and that's not just Doctor. That's probably every show.
That's true. There are no cheap episodes. That's for sure.
Well, Doctor Who more than.
Yes,
Doctor Who more than others because of the fact
subject matter, and
it's a new location every episode. It's a new set of monsters. It's a new cast. It's all that newness. And Stephen, I'm gonna use this as a lead into our next story, so we can just move on
because we're 40 minutes into the. Listen, kids, we have so much news to catch up on. We are on item 2 of this whole news list. Yeah,
ridiculous people.
Yeah, go ahead though, Chris.
In Attitude magazine, a queer magazine based out of, I don't know, Britain.
I think it's Britain. Given that it's .co.uk, I'm going to assume that's Britain.
Oh yeah, there we go. I didn't even look at that. So anyway, there's an interview with Juno Dawson, who's been announced as one of the writers. She who also wrote Doctor Who. What was the podcast?
Redacted. Season 1.
Redacted. There we go. Thank you.
And she was on the official Doctor Who podcast. First season, was it? Or specials? Yeah. Anyway.
Where she came out to say that her episode is, quote, the most ridiculous episode they've ever done and the most expensive.
So that's the Eurovision one, probably.
Is it though? I don't know.
No, probably not.
I mean, we don't
that
know
to me is
yet,
ridiculous.
Obviously.
So yeah.
That's true.
We don't know yet, but that just ties into the whole. No matter how much money Doctor Who has, you can always do with more.
You always do more. Except when he did it with less than the BBC. I did joke during the Boom commentary with Steve Moffat, about going back to multicam, and he says, yes, let's go right back. And 4:3, yes, let's not do that.
Oh, yes, no, you may be joking, but we aren't.
But I made him say it. Going back to 4:3. Oh, let's do it, just for fun. Come on, if that Lighthouse movie can be shot in 4:3, then damn it, we can do it too.
And black and white.
And black and white. We're almost there,
Justice
people.
League in 4:3 for some inexplicable reason.
What? Yeah.
That's the Snyder Cut is in 4:3. I don't know why.
Oh, that's right. It is, isn't it? Yeah.
Also, I didn't talk to you about this at Gallia, Stephen, but I noticed you got you had a mission with Moffat to get a certain phrase said, and you fulfilled your end of the bargain.
I did, because I wanted to plant the seed of Moffat coming back and doing an RTD with Tennant and Tate, and say, oh, Matt and Karen, let's get the band back together, and like maybe they would do a do a relaunch like that. Listen, hey, the studio's sitting empty. You could do it. You
can do a tweet along. There you go. Fulfilled.
Yeah, just do one. Well, I probably did already. It says, remember that tweet along we did in 2020?
There.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's get back together for 3 episodes. Come on, you could do it. The studio's right there. We could just shoot them all in the TARDIS, for crying out loud. It could happen. We're doing our best. We're doing our best, folks, to basically get Steve Moffat to come back to the show and make it as cheaply and as expensive as possible. And that's what we're going to do.
We're doing our best to fulfill our own weird whims.
Our own agenda right now. We're running it.
Nobody is getting younger, but let's just cycle through RTD Moffat Chibnall, RTD Moffat Chibnall.
Let's
RTD
not do
Moffat
that.
Chibnall.
That seems silly.
Yeah. Chris Chibnall has a crime novel coming out, I think, in April.
Oh, cool.
I saw. Yeah, there's like some live streaming event that Candeep forwarded to me the other day, and I couldn't remember what it was. I got to check the messages. Yeah, sometime in early April, I think it is. It's some event. That's the best I can do off the top of my head. That's the best I can do for you. That's the most detail you're gonna get until I look it up, which I very well might do.
I'm looking it up right here. Death at the White Hart, Hart spelled Hart.
That's the one.
Chris Chibnall.
Mm-hmm.
That's the one.
I am tempted to get this. What the hell?
White Hart is a very, very typical
paperback, $42, maybe not.
British pub name.
Yeah. I see. Yeah. So anyway, this is just right here. There's an evening of Chris Chibnall, Tuesday, April 8th, at the St. Michael and All Angels something hall in Bram Hall, England. It's £17 per ticket. So it's not a streaming thing. It's an actually in-person thing talking about his new book. So that's cool. Good for him.
Neat.
Good for him. We like to talk to Chris Chibnall on this podcast. So
lovely fellow.
He is a lovely fellow. So there you go. Well done. Well done branching out and not like sort of seeking the next big TV thing to do. But so there you go. There's some late breaking, not really late breaking, but late looking up at the time of talking about it news on Radio Free Skaro. Hey, let's talk a little bit of season 2. Christopher Chung joins the Whoniverse. This warranted a full-on BBC press release. There's a shot of his character, his mysterious character in season 2. Will he be friend or foe of the Doctor? Apparently, Chris, you'll confirm this, he's in that equestrian show, Slow Horses.
Mm-hmm.
Watched one episode.
Yeah,
it's all about raising and breaking horses. That's what
I thought.
It's a lovely
who
watch.
are very slow.
Gary Oldman.
They're actually not. They're not all that bright. These horses.
Yeah,
slow horses.
Gary Oldman, chameleon actor that he is, does play one of the horses.
I watched the first episode. It was good. I just have terrible returning to show.
You really do.
Habits, I guess.
Yeah.
Slow Horses is one of those typical British shows where there's only the 6 episodes per series.
And yet here we are.
And yet they make they make a season a year, which is great. They don't wait 3 years to make one season. Look at that.
They shoot 2 per year.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
Back to back, and then so season 4 has run its course. 5 has been shot. 5 and 6 have been shot and commissioned. But great show. Yeah, Christopher Chung plays like an IT wizard kind of guy. But yes, watch Slow Horses. It is a wonderful show.
I've heard tell.
And I do pay for Apple TV Plus amongst all the other stuff. So
yeah, and it's shot in England. I bet you could spot Doctor Who actors in it. So there's
it is very much shot a lot in London.
Yeah, I just spot London locations and go, ooh, I like that place.
Yeah. That's kind of cool. So anyway, that was an announcement. So hey, they're building up. They're building up to something, everyone. If you look at the first letter, I think if you look through there, you can see April 12th. There's season 2. There's a numeral 2. MI 5. That's 1. That's a 1. So if you look through in there, April 12th is actually sprinkled into that.
Please do not bring the dark art of numerology into this.
Official press release.
Astrology for math nerds. Thanks for that.
If you look really closely, the start of every paragraph spells "never going to give you up."
Oh,
Nice.
I like
Nicely
that.
played, Chris.
Zooming in on the image there, he's got like a rifle with a flashlight on it, but the outfit that he's wearing does so slightly remind me of the outfit that the Earth soldiers wore on Resurrection of the Daleks, the one that Lytton commanded. So obviously,
Lytton's back.
Lytton's back, even though Maurice Colburn died in
Samurai helmet or bust. Come on, guys.
Yes, please. God, I love those. For no reason, I loved those.
You and me are the only two people in the world who love those, I think.
God, Resurrection.
And I'm fine with that.
I loved Resurrection of the Daleks so much because there was so much death, and that's all I wanted in my Doctor Who at the time. That's all I wanted. Fear Her fans rejoice. It's back on iPlayer with the offending Hugh Edwards dialogue removed and replaced by another commentator, I believe. I think they
Please don't let them be canceled, whoever they may be.
Yeah, I know. I think they
Becky Wright.
Rightfully canceled, I should point out. I'm not caping for Hugh Williams here.
No. Hugh Edwards. Yeah,
Edwards. Yeah.
So there you go. So you can watch. You can safely watch Fear Her again. You still can't watch Terror of the Zygons or Seeds of Doom, or indeed.
It's also not very good, so, just overall.
That's true. Oddly enough, I was watching, I threw on Tubi the other day, and just to have Doctor Who on while I was editing a podcast, and like Terror of the Zygons came up. Like I was like an episode and a half into it, wait a minute, that's Terror of the Zygons. How come we can see that? I thought it was pulled off iPlayer, but apparently it's still around on the BritBox Fast channel, so...
What's the reason it's not on?
We don't know. We
that hasn't been said.
It's probably a rights thing that probably triggered after a year on iPlayer.
Loch Ness Monsters lawyers are very angry.
Bear in mind, Stephen, different streaming services may have different contracts, and home video releases would be different different versus what's on iPlayer, and so it can get very, very complicated.
Very complicated indeed, Chris. Hey, look at this. We talked earlier about season 25 coming to Blu-ray here in North America this week. Can't wait. Well, I have to wait. It's coming in a couple days. But finally, we have a release date in North America for season 7, aka John Pertwee season 1. June 3rd is when it's coming out. Which, you know what? It's like 3 months after. That's not too bad.
At Galley, when I went to the Blu-ray panel, so they were predominantly they're talking about stuff in general, but of course talked about season 25 because it had come out in the UK and was on the horizon in North America, and they talked about season 7 a bit, and the moderator and the panelists weren't aware that it was fairly fresh news at the time, but they weren't aware that June was the season 7 release time frame.
Oh, I see.
So I got to break that to them at the panel.
Oh, well done. Well done.
Well, by virtue of you sending me the link saying, hey, it's finally there.
It was me who did it. Wow. Who's your source in this? Me. Yeah.
Well, Amazon.
I know. So anyway, that's the one I'm looking forward to. As well as this is one we don't have in a release date yet for, but The Savages is coming out March 24th in the UK. They released the list of extras, including a 90-minute documentary called Remembering Forgetting the Savages, directed by Stuart Denman and presented by our good friend Toby Haydock. There's also one on there, a 90-minute documentary about Innes Lloyd, the producer.
Innes Lloyd, yeah. Remembering / Forgetting the Savages.
Yes.
Was the...
What did I say? Did I say something
You
different?
just said remembering forgetting, which
I
has a different connotation.
That's true. Anyway, a little plug if you want to hear more about the season 7 stuff and indeed that Savages documentary. Both Toby Haydock and Peter Crocker. Peter Crocker did all the restoration work on season 7. Will be on this very podcast next week.
Neato.
And if you're a Patreon supporter, you'll hear that earlier in the week, probably on Tuesday or something like that, if I can get around to editing it in time. But yeah, very cool chat with those two about the various complications and everything. 90-minute, 100-minute documentary on the Savages. The documentary is longer than the actual story, and I'm fascinated by that. So
Just as a tangent, because hey, that's what we do around
That's
here.
what we do.
So tangentially to the Savages, the most recent episode of The Simpsons called "The Fast and the Furious."
Yes,
features a two things. Number one, Lisa has a conversation with Professor Frank talking about time travel, and on his whiteboard is a drawing of a TARDIS.
Nice,
but
nice.
More importantly, there is a character on the episode called Dorothea Chaplet.
Yep.
Who looks like Dodo.
Looks like
and
Dodo.
The writer of the episode, Rob Lazebnik, has confirmed that it is actually based on Dodo Chaplet.
Nice.
Amazing. Well, I mean,
they snuck Tom Baker's in there in previous seasons. So.
Yeah, they have. But Dorothea Chaplet, that is as deep a cut.
That is pretty deep, yeah.
As you can get to a mainstream Doctor Who character. She was over 19 weeks for crying out loud, and we're still like Dorothy.
In 1965, yeah.
Yeah.
Iconic fashion sense, though. That's probably part of why people remember her.
Well, maybe because she was only around for 19 weeks, and she was. Although her goodbye scene was very touching, though. That's the one thing we also remember about Dodo. Still,
it had the whole nation in tears.
Still brings me to tears. That one,
back in 1966.
Yeah. While we were in the United States, it was kind of cool to see in my, because I'm subscribed to this channel on YouTube, but come through on my subscriptions on YouTube thinking, oh, look at this, all 10 episodes of the War Games on the classic Doctor Who YouTube channel. And they have a whole bunch of episodes there in like complete form, but like with chapter markers to break up the individual episodes. Yeah, you can only get that in the US. For some reason,
I've never tried that with VPN. I mean, I can't see why it wouldn't work, but I haven't tried.
It works. I have tried that. I'm going to try it now because we'll disrupt the connection. But
no,
our good friend Kyle Anderson has written in the past for the Nerdist about this Doctor Who channel, which I mean, they're slowly filling things in. It's fantastic because so much stuff is legitimately from the authors, creators, is legit on YouTube now.
Yeah,
and why? Like, the people who buy the Blu-rays we're a special breed.
Freaks.
A lot of people aren't gonna, like, with who has classic Doctor Who streaming rights in the US?
Does
anyone?
BritBox.
BritBox, okay.
Yeah, BritBox owns probably like a lot of places. Like, their fast channels on BritBox itself too. So,
and then Tubi and Pluto.
But they get theirs from BritBox.
They do. Yeah, it's actually an actual BritBox channel, is what that is. If you look at the commercial breaks, it says BritBox all over it. So
the other thing you got to remember is YouTube is basically the biggest TV network in America. It is tons and tons and tons and tons of people watch whatever on it. Like it gets way. I don't particularly like a lot of the content on there, but people do watch it all the time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and don't forget that in the States you can subscribe to YouTube as a TV provider as well.
Too.
So. But anyway, having all this stuff for free on YouTube is a very wise move.
Huge. Huge.
You can embed it everywhere too now.
Yep. Kyle, our good friend Kyle Anderson, who we saw very briefly at Gallifrey One, he's on his Laser Focus podcast for the Nerdist. He actually had an episode recently that said, "Here's your introduction to watching what Doctor Who episodes if you have never watched it before, classic Doctor Who, because some of them are on YouTube now. So check that out. It's good little podcast. I like Kyle's podcast, Laser Focus, especially when he talks about things I know. So I don't listen to all of them because I don't know a lot of things when it comes to
X-Men figures or something.
I have no idea what the
X-Men not.
You don't know about Beast Wars?
I don't know what that is. Even I don't care.
I think we ran on a Teletoon. It was garbage.
Beast Wars. Don't remember. Anyway, so if you're in the United States, enjoy your YouTube. That's like I'm complaining. Like I literally have got a hard drive of DVD rips. I've got a whole shelf in there.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm set, but other people are not. I realize so. If you're in the U.S., you can watch a whole bunch. And they're adding more and more all the time, I believe, too. So they're up to 69 videos, which is nice.
What a change from back in the old days when I had people emailing me going, how do I see the new Doctor Who? And they'd be watching snippets basically pirated and put on YouTube. This is like the early days of modern Who.
Or the fun, more recent stuff where it's on like Daily Motion, but the video is flipped.
Yeah, exactly.
To avoid copyright.
Oh, yeah.
My heart sinks whenever I see that kind of thing going on.
Yeah. Next up, hey, let's talk about a whole bunch of stuff that's coming out in the form of books and audiobooks and
merchandising.
Merchandising, right? There are new, as recently announced, new 15th Doctor and Belinda Chandra. Not Belinda Finch, which is for some reason what Julie Gardner called this character on stage. It caused some confusion. I'm sure she just misspoke. There are new novels coming, 2 new adventures coming for the season 2 team, to be released May 29th. Further grist for the mill of Doctor Who ending at May 25th, I guess is what it would be, wouldn't it? 24th, yeah. Two books, one written by Emily Cook. Good job,
Yay.
Emily Cook, and also Hannah Ferguson is also writing. Fear, Death by Water is Emily Cook's, and Spectral Scream by Hannah Ferguson, both coming out on May 29th, presumably only in the UK, because that's how these things happen.
And also, just because I had initially had separate links for them that I took out after the fact, but there's audiobook versions, CD and digital, coming out as well.
Nice.
I did not look to see if it's like read by the author or who. But,
Fear, Death by Water is written by Susan Twist from TV's Doctor Who, read by Susan Twist, and Michelle Asante is reading Spectral Scream. So there you are.
Perfect. Thank you.
That's how it is. I had pre-opened those links yesterday, Chris, before you took them out of the news list. So that's the only reason I know. That's the only reason that I know that. Also, from the Black Archive, Silver Nemesis, the book about Silver Nemesis is coming out. Yeah, I know, right?
Has come out.
Has come out. I know because I bought it because it's written by James Curry Smith. And James Curry Smith, if you don't subscribe to his newsletter, Psychic, what is it called? Psychic Circus. I have some
Psychic Paper.
Psychic Paper. That's
so.
the one.
Yeah.
It's great, and so
I really should. I haven't.
Yeah, he wrote one of the first Black Archive books on the massacre. We had him on the podcast because it was fascinating. He's written some fascinating stuff. So I instantly bought this one about Silver Nemesis because Silver Nemesis is garbage, and I want to read all about it.
That's what makes it interesting. Yeah.
Yep, exactly.
I don't think I've ever met the man, but friends who are friends with him have nothing but fantastic things to say about Jim Smith.
Yep.
So.
He's often thanked in productions. I think he's written the odd production subtitle for DVDs and Blu-rays. I think, but he. So anyway, right? It's cheap. Like the ebook was like $7 Canadian for me. Like, come on, I'll happily buy that.
Speaking of ordering things, I just ordered in hardcover Chris Chibnall's novel. Why the hell not?
Well, look at this. This podcast has made Warren slightly less rich.
Yeah, well.
Well done, Warren.
But rich culturally, because I'm reading Chris Chibnall's novel in June when it comes out.
That's true. Yeah, maybe you'll fly to England and have a day with Chris Chibnall in.
Unlikely, but okay.
Well, I'm just throwing it out there.
Go on a pub crawl with Chibbers.
I mean, it sounds awesome, but
10 Acre Films always puts out a lot of great stuff, including Graham Kimball White's books on the Doctor Who title sequence and Sid Sutton and all that. And they also have the 20th anniversary limited edition hardback of the comic book adaptation of Script Doctor. Fascinating. That's pretty cool.
Explain this to me and others who don't know what the hell this is.
Script Doctor was a book that Andrew Cartmel wrote about his time script editing.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah.
TV's Doctor Who. And they turned it into a comic book adaptation of that. That's
kind of awesome.
Which is way cool. So
that is like the definition of esoteric.
Right? That is amazing. So,
and that's what this podcast is all about. So sounds good.
100%. So it's pre-ordered. It's coming out March 7th, £19.99, £19.99 from 10 Acre Films. It's sold out, so too bad. So we just told you about it because you can't have it. So too bad. Hope you enjoyed it, people who pre-ordered it. It's gone. Limited to 250 numbered copies, and it's out. But I think, is it available elsewhere? I don't know. We're just reading these this week. See, like not the limited edition hardback. It might be available in other things. Good stuff, though. 10 Acre Films, that's Stuart Manning's production thing. It's great. Great little outfit.
They do great work. They are very on point with their selection of what they publish.
Very much. Very targeted towards us, I believe.
Yeah, basically it's their staff meetings involve what would Stephen Shapansky buy
Right?
in his capacity as an uber Doctor Who nerd?
Yeah. How can we get him to talk about this extensively on a podcast? Well, we
need an insane person's opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So their next book on production codes, Stephen.
Production codes, like there's some fascinating things there. Like why did it skip you after the Time Warrior? Why were there no 4U and 5U and 6U? Why? Why not? I need to know this. Write a book, someone. I need to know the answers. Some more stuff coming down the pipe, a long ways down. The only reason we know about it is because the Doctor Who merchandise site has posted about it, and there are Amazon links to it with release dates, but literally nothing else other than the author. Esme Jikiemi Pearson, who wrote the novelization for The Church on Ruby Road, has written Doctor Who The Moon Cruise, coming out on November 13th, 2025. That's all we know. It's 208 pages. It's a Doctor Who book. That's when it's coming out.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the books. That's all the books, right? We got all the books out of the way?
I believe so, yeah.
Got all the books. Right. On to some audio stuff. So this is kind of cool. The BBC Radiophonic Workshop Archive is now available for purchase and download and reimagining through Spitfire Audio.
That's pretty rad.
It is cool. I watched we have also linked the 35-minute walkthrough video on how to use all these sounds and stuff. Like a whole bunch of like found sounds, like sound effects from the time that they use, and now you can actually load them in and like manipulate them and use them as actual sounds on your keyboard and stuff like that. I don't know. I don't use like Logic enough with my keyboard attached to it to fully justify it. It's $155 US, $159 US. It's an offer right now. I think it's until March 14th or something like that. The introductory offer.
Let's praise them for not doing a subscription model.
100%.
You buy it and you got it.
You buy it and you got it. Yeah. Mark Ayres put this together, and he was on BBC Radio talking about it. And there's a nice interview with he and other members of the Radiophonic Workshop, like Roger Lim and Peter Howell, and also the demo, which is not him but somebody else from Spitfire, going through the motions of all this stuff. It's pretty cool for those of you who like all that classic sounds and stuff. I might get it just to say I've got the BBC run.
So
go on.
If you do your own audio dramas, you could just use this audio because you've paid for it. So you
could use the sounds and just use them as just basically a sound bank. Essentially, is kind of what they are. So yeah, I don't know if the samples from the actual Doctor Who theme are there from Delia Derbyshire, but they do show a list of what sounds you get, and there's a lot of them. So anyway, links in the show notes if you're an enterprising musician or something like that and want to own this. It can be yours thanks to the epic amount of work put in by Mark Ayres digitizing all this, turning them basically into samples that you can use. As Delia Derbyshire hitting a lampshade in 1965 is now a sample that you can use on your keyboard in Logic or GarageBand or something. Quite a standard.
Every time I think of keyboard sampling, my mind always flashes back to Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Oh, that's right. Know that. You had one of those, didn't it? Mine flashes back to Kef McCullough in the making of Silver Nemesis, which is...
Of course it does.
Which is why the reason I bought a cheap Radio Shack keyboard, which I still have to this day.
Your Casio? Is that Casio? That little white?
No, it's a realistic. Guy? It's a realistic.
Oh, that's a step below.
It was cheap because I was like 13 when I bought it, and it didn't work right because the samples didn't quite work. But I had it. I still have it.
I bought a... Sorry, go ahead.
No, it's the reason I have still one of those little, power adapters that, plug the little 4-pin thing that you can plug different things in that doesn't work with literally anything, but it works for that keyboard. I still have one because of that.
Oh, one of the 4-pronged, anyway.
SCART.
Yeah, those things, yeah.
I bought an $80 keyboard that I never use. It's actually in a closet right now.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
During the pandemic, just for the hell of it. But this makes me tempted to do it just for sound effect nonsense.
Right? I know. You have the keyboard already, Warren.
Yeah,
Bookshelf Doctors with audio.
Oh my God.
Nobody wants that.
Oh, well, we do. We just said it.
Broton the middle management Saigon with audio.
Yeah.
But I gotta do stop motion.
It's a lot of work, isn't it? I know. That's why Yoda Savings Alone hasn't made a return in a while either. Well, that because the people who own the Star Lost took down my YouTube channel. So
Yeah, damn them.
which I'm still vindictive about. Anyway, on to some Big Finish stuff. We did mention this very briefly in an episode over the weekend, but bearing the lead some hour 8 into this sucker, the Ninth Doctor, as played by Christopher Eccleston, and Rose Tyler, as played by Billington Piper, is returning for a brand new series of full cast audio droppers. They weren't together in Eccleston's first batch of Ninth Doctor audios. But they are in this one, which are good. So this is just awesome. Like hearing those two to get like big name proper actors. Not nothing against Big Finish, but like getting like current busy actors to say, sure, come back and do that role from 20 years ago again for audio is pretty commendable
name a more
on their
iconic
part. Yeah, right. It's a lot of people's first Doctor and companion duo. So. And they had a lovely photo with Eccleston and Billy Piper sharing a laugh, which was lovely. So yeah, very cool. So that's coming April 2025 is when this was announced at August. I said April. August 2025. Thank you, Chris, from Big Finish. So that's pretty cool. That is way cool.
The press release came out minutes or something before the Big Finish panel at Galley. So
yeah,
there was a lot of that happening at Galley.
There was the very curious the Disney Instagram channel, a Disney Doctor Who on Instagram, posted literally within like a couple minutes after our friends Kim and Sage interviewed Susan Twist on stage at Gallifrey One that Susan Twist was returning for season 2. Like I just thought, what odd timing. Like they basically like danced around. Is she coming back for season 2? So I'm wondering if there was someone the person who runs that Instagram account was in the crowd and at the convention.
That's entirely possible.
And said, "Oh, can we go with this? Okay, let's do it. Let's post it."
Or it could just be a big coincidence too.
That would be massive coincidence, given that it was only the Disney Doctor Who Instagram channel and not any other official channels that posted it. So odd things. Anyway, yeah, that came out at Gallifrey One during the Big Finish panel. Maybe this did too. Brave New Worlds await in the unit. Brave New World fractures with the return of Brigadier Winifred Bambera. That's coming out in June 25th and March 2026. Wow. That's quite
What
something.
I love about this cover is that this lizard or whatever it is, dinosaur, looks like it's the main character. I kind of hope it is.
Is it a dinosaur, or hear me out on this, is it a reimagined Bandrol?
Could be both. Maybe it's both.
From Time Lash.
It's big because there's a helicopter coming at it.
That's the helicopter. Well, it might be. I mean, technically, the humans are big too. If you look,
I suppose that's true too. Is that the story, that the humans are gigantic?
Yeah,
and this is their ally, and the helicopters are coming at their ally, Dinosaur Man.
True.
Robert Bandrol.
Yeah, Robert Jezik reprises his role as a big deal. Yeah, the Canadian actor. He's a Canadian actor, Robert Jezik. So. Who's been in the UK a lot. He was in Star Cops as playing an American, which is natural for him. So,
you can see him there to the left of Bambera.
Yeah. I watched just to go into what old British show has Stephen been watching on YouTube this week. I stumbled across a very cheesy drama from 1985. Can't remember the name of it. Hold the line, something about newspaper. Anyway, it started David Warner as a newspaper reporter.
Hell yeah!
And he was from '85, and he interviewed an athlete who, doing some of her own skiing stunts, was Janet Fielding, which was kind of cool. Anyway, the show was produced by Evgeny Gridev. I can't remember his name now. He produced Star Cops and was directed by Christopher Baker, who would later go on to direct Star Cops as well. So this is why Star Cops is front in mind, even more so than it usually is.
I was going to say, like, that's nothing new for you.
No, that's true. Yeah.
Maybe you need to start a new YouTube channel. Just call it Steven Reacts. And you can
Please
do your
stop
own,
doing this, Chris.
You can do your
I
own,
beg of you.
your own series of reaction videos.
Nobody wants to
70s
react
and
to
80s
anything.
UK stuff.
Just of literally me live, just going, "Oh, who's that? I recognize that person." I would go like, "Oh, that's a guy from this thing." Wow,
I do not need to. First of all, the fun, in quotes, of is seeing people who've never seen stuff for the first time, who, by the way, are very young and naive. We don't need to see jaded old Steven doing this. And also, I never, ever want to see your thumbnail with your mouth agape.
Just like, oh my God, yeah, is that really Christopher Benjamin in that? Yes, it is. Find out.
I mean, that would be kind of funny, that the mouth agape to something nobody but you cares about.
Right? Yeah, yeah, I'd be bad news.
Morgan Shepherd and Zed Cars.
It was amazing. It was
You
Morgan
can do the Home
Shepherd.
Alone pose with your hands on your cheeks.
God, I hate YouTube so much.
Anyway, let's dissect other Big Finish artwork with Doctor Who Fallen Heroes with Jonathan Carley and Daisy Ashford in it as they investigate a murder most
cover.
strange. I know. It looks like the War Doctor, young John Hurt, dressed up as an FIB agent, or GIB as it says there, whatever that is.
I mean, that's kind of a cool idea.
61B.
Why not in Big Finish do stuff like that where he's like a detective or whatever? Like, why the hell not? Plus, there's a Who Won license plate down near the bottom. So
That's true. Mm-hmm. With the unit sign on there.
And a unit thing in the background.
yeah, a really cool backlit unit sign. It was kind of. I just like where they're going with this.
Yeah. Anyway, that's coming up May 25th. Doctor Who Fallen Heroes from Big Finish. The Third Doctor's Dunkirk Spirit. Tim Treloar writes and stars alongside Sadie Miller in the Third Doctor Adventures Operation Vengeance, a full cast audio drama due for release October 25. We do not have artwork to dissect for that. Just Tim Treloar in the recording studio from Big Finish on that one. So apologies for that when episode art comes out. I'm sure we will overanalyze it on this podcast.
I mean, Big Finish gets very, very creative with some of their pairings and casting and whatnot. But Third Doctor story with Sarah Jane Smith and Joe Jones, not Joe Grant, Joe
interesting.
Jones.
Oh,
Sounds
from Amazon.
that's very. I like that.
And it's Dunkirk, which is kind of cool to begin
yeah,
with.
that's true. One of Britain's greatest noble failures, Dunkirk.
One of many.
Yeah, that's true.
And a really mind-bending film.
You know what? I hadn't seen it. I hadn't really seen any Christopher Nolan movies, and then I watched Oppenheimer, and I says, I don't want to see Dunkirk now.
I disagree with you. I've seen both in the theater, and they're both good.
Was it good? I
Yeah.
didn't know.
You hate it
Dunkirk,
'cause it's new.
Yeah, Dunkirk I saw in the theater like opening week, and it's just gorgeous, just beautiful.
Was it actually good?
Beautifully shot.
Okay.
Yeah, it was actually good. And Oppenheimer's better, in my opinion, but...
No, I didn't.
The story is kind of, like I say, mind bending because it's a few stories told at the same time. Intercut,
Oh, okay.
in different time periods.
but they have
yeah.
different time frames.
Yeah, that's a better way to put it.
Oh, okay.
That's the mind bending part is like this takes place over a day, this takes place over a week, or whatever. But it's just yeah.
It's not Tenet mind bending, which is just frankly confusing. But
It's wibbly wobbly and
Really?
it's new, so you won't like it, Stephen.
Well, I mean, I like the odd new. Hey, I like September 5. I bought that. On.
So did I, but also we both liked it for the obvious reason that it is steeped in the old.
That is true. Well, Dunkirk's old. It's 1941.
Okay, sure.
Something like that.
Stephen reacts to Dunkirk.
Dunkirk. What Doctor Who actors were in Dunkirk for Stephen to find out about? Check out my new YouTube
Several.
channel. Probably. Don't tell me. Don't tell me. I need to find this out for myself.
No,
I don't
you
care
don't.
about plot spoilers. Like, here's the spoilers. They leave. They get on the boats. But
It's got Slow Horse's own Jack Loudon in it.
No, that's true.
Jack Loudon.
And a one-dimensionist. Can't remember which one.
What, a flatliner guy?
Harry Styles.
Oh,
Harry Styles,
One Dimension, the band. That's right. Gotcha. Harry Styles is in it.
You know, something outside the realm of Doctor Who. I know you're
Yeah,
not
Harry
familiar with
Styles,
that,
who's
but-
going to be in that Marvel film. If you remember that Easter egg post credit scene from 8 years ago, that will never be followed up upon.
Oh,
because-
so speaking of Easter egg post-credit scenes, I went to see Captain America. I almost said Winter Soldier, Brave New World. It's all right, but they have an at the end. I'm going to give it away. The villain of the piece goes, "You just wait, the others are coming." And these nerds behind me go, "He's talking about about the multiverse. And I'm like, well, duh, of course he is. What have the last 6 movies been about? Come on, nerds. Come on.
Yeah, what have you been? We've been trudging along waiting for it to wrap up. The multiverse.
We'll see. I'm not 100% disagreeing with you, but I'm also not 100% agreeing with you on that one. I'd like to see where they go with this.
Oh, sure. You'll be right there. Front row, Warren.
No, I wouldn't go that far.
No. Third row, Warren.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
There we go. Also from Big Finish, John Colshaw, master impersonator that he is, reads The Mirror Matter by Kate Horman, a brand new audio novel starring the Third Doctor and his Season 7 team. That's due for release in 2025, July. Neat. So there we are. That's there. No artwork for that. Cannot dissect what's going on.
It's a picture of John Colshaw holding up an iPad with a big spoiler warning at the start of the script.
That's right.
That is the art. That's going to be the art on the cover.
I do love that they have like all these, like Chris Chapman, who writes Big Finish sometimes, in addition to making Doctor Who Blu-ray documentaries, and he shared a picture of his script that he had. And there's like official like Big Finish watermark on top of it saying no spoilers. You know, it's kind of cool. It's such a policy that they embed it in their stationaries, which is kind of cool. Some other Doctor Who audio stuff, not Big Finish related, but audio CDs coming out. This is scooping all of these authors' hard work, but it's on Amazon.co.uk, so we'll talk to you about it. Doctor Who, What Still Remains, a 7th Doctor audio original, comes out August 7th. That's from Adam Christopher. That's all we know about it. No, we don't know who's reading it. Also, Una McCormack, our friend Una McCormack, Doctor Who Counter-Strike, a 15th Doctor audio original. That comes out October 2nd. Same day, our friend Beth Axford has written Doctor Who Firefall, also a 15th Doctor audio original. You're welcome for scooping your release dates because it was already now on Amazon. So there you are. Stuff. That's all the stuff that we have. And finally, though, Julian Holloway, who's famous for Carry On films and a whole bunch of other stuff, but of course was in Doctor Who, and that's why we're mentioning it here. He passed away at the age of 80. I remember, so think back, I think it was 2011 or 2012 at Gallifrey One, when we had when it was slightly set up differently, and the green room was because I don't think it had taken over the entire convention floor at that point, Gallifrey One. So the green room was kind of like accessible, and so we had a table right outside of it and basically ran in and got people. Yeah. Anyway, I'm interviewing Ben Browder, who played the sheriff guy in a town called Mercy. And in behind, as I'm talking to Ben Browder, Sylvester McCoy and Julian Holloway see each other down the hall and walk up and have a lovely embrace, having never seen each other since making Survival, basically. Wow. So that reunion was captured on tape in behind Ben Browder, which I always thought was kind of cool. So, yeah, lovely little moment that was. And I quite like Julian Holloway in Survival. I thought it was a pretty good performance. And speaking of old British telly on YouTube, somebody obviously reacted to the moment by posting something that Julian Holloway was in, and he was good in that too. So, good actor. Now
Stephen reacts to Julian Holloway.
And speaking of Ben Browder, all of Farscape is on Amazon now for some reason.
Is it really?
Yeah. I never really got into it. I'm half tempted just to avoid new stuff.
It's basically just like Babylon 5 with Muppets, isn't it? Isn't that what it is?
I'm pretty sure you've angered both Muppets fans and Babylon 5 fans with that comment.
And indeed Farscape fans, which was
it does have a cranky lech of a Muppet, so I kind of like that guy.
Oh, okay. And that guy's name is Ben Browder. No, it's not. I have no idea. I had no idea what happens on that show. No idea. Well, there you go. We've caught you up on all the news that we missed, and so I hope you enjoyed that 80-minute episode of us bantering, pure banter. Next week, as I said, Toby Haydock, Peter Crocker talk about Season 7 and also a little bit about the Savages. Coming up as we gear up for April 12th now, apparently, kids, is when Doctor Who comes back. So we'll fill the time with some very entertaining and educational edutainment on this podcast.
And reacting. Don't forget
reacting to old Doctor Who actors in even older British telly. So that's all to come on Radio Free Skaro. So until next time, I am Stephen in Edmonton.
Warren in Vancouver.
And Chris in Edmonton.
So long for now.